Is it wrong for us to give our opinion if they don't ask?
Highly recommend you guys.
Kind of hard to say no to that.
Oh my God, that's a cat.
Asking your friends in what areas you have offended them.
You want me to sugarcoat it, or you want me to kind of just rip off the Band-Aid?
Like the deep stuff.
I got just so agitated by that.
If you share your why and what you're trying to do, then people are going to be way more likely to help you along that journey. We are here tonight for the Candid Feedback Challenge team. If you want to just do a quick, 15, 20-second intro.
Again, my name is Kurosh. I'm a second-year student majoring in chemistry. I've recently found out that I don't know much about myself. And coming here and actually being with you guys in this space helps me each time to learn more about myself.
I'm Parker. I'm a junior studying marketing at NC State. Really specifically enjoy connecting with and meeting and learning alongside other college age, high school age students specifically. Appreciate the opportunity to be here and learn alongside you guys.
Well, I'm Colby. I'm into development and figuring out what is it that makes me tick. I'm excited for this one though.
My name is Nick. I'm a senior at NC State, concentrating on entrepreneurship and taking extra classes in operations and finance. I've been on this journey to figure out what the hell I want to do out of college and knowing more about myself, because if I know more about myself, then I can offer more to other people.
What I get really excited about every day is empowering people to dream big, take action, and achieve fulfillment in their maximum potential. This idea of challenge teams and giving people opportunities to take action and have this team of peers who's there for support and accountability has a lot of legs, in a lot of different ways. So here is the core issue.
We wish we asked for candid feedback from my family and close friends more often. We recognize that we are often the worst observers of ourselves, and we want to take time to have low-key conversations with the people who know us best to ask things like, when was a time I said something negatively that impacted you? How have I changed in the years since you first met me? And what is one thing you think I could do better?
You guys should definitely check out the podcast with Gareth. We had a chance to talk about asking for candid feedback from the people around you. Most people definitely don't spend a lot of time thinking about, let me ask my girlfriend, let me ask my best friends for feedback on how I'm doing. And not that we're treating this like a business or something, but it's recognizing that you have a lot to learn, right? And what better way is there to learn than to ask from the people right around you? I'm also reading this incredible book right now, which I highly recommend you guys. The author talks about how we are often the worst observers of ourselves. And as soon as you start plugging other people into that, only growth is going to happen, whether it's good, whether it's bad, anything you find out, it can only result in growth. I'd love to go around and maybe share what you guys think about this core issue and why you're here. We'll start off with Colby.
My issue, it's super interesting, but I was going home and I remember my dad texted me, he was like, "Where are you?" And for some reason, I got just so agitated by that. Then I came home, I was just presenting something that I know, it wasn't me. And he was just like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, "Nothing's wrong." And I had an amazing time too. So it's just super weird. I was just what has taken over me? And it was actually bothering me. And so this is super exciting, being able to be open and start asking more questions. Okay, how can I get better? I guess something difficult I've been dealing with is confidence, self-assurance, and just trusting my own abilities.
My motivation for wanting to join the team, I just honestly have an ego issue and am used to hearing a lot of positive feedback and really want to use this as a chance to get just real authentic feedback. One piece of constructive criticism to me is better than 10 just positive reinforcements on something I'm already doing. I struggle with procrastination. That's always been a big one for me. Having these types of things, accountability, and then use goal setting to overcome and discipline to overcome procrastination. So yeah.
For me, my motivation has been a lot of positive feedback, just has risen my ego so much that I'm and because of that, I've been struggling with, and it has backfired on me. I get really bothered when I don't communicate correctly, and there's a lot of control. I like others to take control, but when I'm completely ignored, that really agitates me. And I think that has also affected me in a way that afterwards, I beat myself or I just get mad because of putting others before myself and not communicating. So I'm hoping that learning to communicate better, getting more constructive feedback And just learning more about myself through this is one of the main motivations that I have for doing this. Something difficult that I've been dealing with been just motivation. I've been in a point of confusion about my future, just not having motivation to moving on. And that is also another reason that I'm here, because like I get motivated when I see all people around me are driven and motivated.
I've been getting on LinkedIn a lot, and one really that affected me was like this person that I went to high school with, kind of in the same business path as me. And I just like got on LinkedIn. And I was like, oh, excited to announce my whatever position. Here I am still going. But like at the same time, okay, well, if I did have that position lined up, I would have never gotten to this point of personal growth, of me trying to figure out, okay, well, what the hell am I good at? Why am I good at it? What do I want to do? And why do I want to do it? That uncertainty of me not knowing what the hell I want to do with the skill set that I have has led me to on this path of growth. How do I figure that out for myself?
For me, not going to college, like I went through a really downhill spill of just like complete anxiety, confusion, just like through this process of growing, like and with these challenge games, it's really helped me ask myself, okay, what is it about me that can add value? What is it that I'm passionate about? What is it like my skills and things that I can work with? And so by doing that, it has led me towards more opportunities and more growth. And I'm not where I want to be, and I think I am in my mind, but like I'm still getting those glimpses. So that's given me hope to keep pushing forward and doing what I'm doing now, of just expanding and figuring myself out of what is it that I'm truly passionate about, that I'll enjoy to wake up every day and put towards the effort.
What are some goals you guys have for this time together?
To learn areas that I can grow in by getting feedback on them.
Figuring out who to ask to get better advice from to really help push my growth.
Learn why people don't more consistently give constructive feedback.
Like learn how to prepare for and to react to feedback.
How to actually apply it to get better from it.
It's important for all of us in this process, recognizing like we're going to get feedback, but also like, if we listen to every single thing that every single person said, then obviously we would be tied up in a knot, right? Yeah. So like learning how to
filter.
That's kind of one of the things I'm doing now with like when I'm reaching out to all these like different mentors, finding the commonalities between them, like where does it overlap, and then using that to react.
Like gaining confidence and willingness to ask for feedback.
To practice honesty and transparency, and also encourage or ask others to do the same, so that you would get the most out of the feedback that you're getting, rather than like having it being something that, even if it's a constructive feedback, because it doesn't deliver the whole message that they're trying to portray to you, it's gonna be like, because it would be flattering, making you feel happy or flattered even when you're getting constructive feedback, because they won't be able to deliver quite what they want to deliver, and you won't be able to get it either.
How could we take action and see some progress in our own lives in these things?
Asking your friends in what areas you have offended them. We've all said something to someone that obviously hurt their feelings, but they just put it away. But maybe trying to bring that up and see like where that problem lies.
So rather than asking like, oh, when was the time I offended you? Instead, it's like, remember that time when, it was freshman year, you and I just met each other. It's like paint them a picture a little bit, like remind them of that time and get their memories jogged, and then ask them the question.
Is it wrong for us to give our opinion if they don't ask?
I always want to give feedback on something that they're not necessarily asking, but I think would be helpful. I first ask for their permission to give my feedback, because I don't want to offend them, but also I care about them so much that I'm like, if I give my feedback, it might at least like give them an opinion on how to go about doing something.
I heard a really good 2-part approach, which included that, which is like ask for their permission first. Like, hey, I've got some feedback for you. If you'd like to hear it, no pressure either way. Okay, cool. You would? Okay, how would you like to receive it? Like, do you want me to sugarcoat it, or do you want me to kind of just rip off the Band-Aid? Like, seriously, I've started using that at 9 miles. It makes a huge difference. And everybody says rip off the Band-Aid, but then they're ready for it, right? They have actually participated. All right, what other ideas do you guys have on how we could structure the team? Like, what do you guys want to do to take action?
I would love to like brainstorm some sample questions in terms of structure. Like, oh, what types of things are you guys thinking of? So that then we could kind of bounce those before going into the first conversations, I think would be helpful.
Hearing your guys' story and perspectives, like obviously we're doing it completely different, but then I think that'll allow more like switches to flip. I think it'll be like double teaching.
I've been struggling with coming up with like people that either have known me for long enough to be able to like give me actual constructive feedback, or people who I can trust them with their honest opinion on it.
I know Colby and Thomas, you guys mentioned asking just first impressions and stuff like that. And my kind of approach to it would be similar to what Kurosh is saying, where it's like people who have really known me, but is there even value in this person who's known me for 20 minutes outside of what was your first impression? That's fine. But it isn't like the deep stuff, you're not going to catch that deep stuff from 20 minutes.
Depends on what your goal is going into it, right? And if your goal, let's say, was to get really good at introducing yourself so that you could have a really great 20-minute interview with the college admissions person, right, who has never met you before, then you probably actually would want to talk to strangers and not family members. If your goal is to become a better friend and a better family member and a better boyfriend, like, then it makes more sense to talk to the people right around you, right? So for me, I'm a little bit more in the same boat with you, Parker. Like, I want to become all of those things.
That's a great point. Thanks for clarifying that.
What are your thoughts, Thomas?
I was talking to Gareth the other day. I was like, okay, like, what are the questions? Like, how do you actually do this? Because she tells me, she's like, oh yeah, I like make it a, kind of like monthly practice, try and sit down with people in my life and just ask them, like, how does that actually go? Because I can't really imagine actually doing that. Like, is this like a FaceTime call? Is this like sitting down next to each other on the couch? Is this like taking a long walk? Like, what is this? And what questions do you ask? So I asked her for some really good stuff. She said, like, family, friends, really people close to you. Don't make it very formal, kind of blend it into whatever the existing relationship is and whatever way that you already communicate with that person. And she just said, like, yeah, don't really like make it a big deal. She tells people, like, text them or call them, talk to them and just say, like, hey, I'm trying to understand something I don't see in myself and I'd love your help. I think this kind of relates back to a fundamental thing with share your why, which is like, if you share your why and what you're trying to do, then people are going to be way more likely to help you along that journey. Like, Nick, isn't that something you've seen as you've kind of been on your journey?
From the start, I basically kind of started out by saying like, hey, I identified this thing that's a concern for me, and this is what I'm doing to mitigate that or to solve that concern, that issue, that challenge. Would you be able to offer me, unless they're like super busy, like, would you be able to offer me time to help me on my mission, rather than you saying, can you give me the solution to the problem I'm having? And I think people are much more responsive with that. Kind of hard to say no to that if you think about that.
I think they are, because they see that you're already kind of taking that first step and taking that leap, right?
I have a podcast recording with a guy named Jordan Bowman, which I think a couple people on this call know. And I think for it could be cool for some interview feedback potentially. He's someone who does interviews, and I think he would be a good person to get interview feedback from. So
it'd be really cool if you told him, like, during your podcast recording, ask for your feedback live, like while we're on the recording.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely have to think about that. I love that.
Good stuff. So going back to kind of what I was hearing from Gareth on some of these things was how you receive the answer to the first piece of feedback is really important, because if you receive that first piece of feedback with any sense of defensiveness, instantly the other person is like, oh, wow, even subconsciously, like, oh, wow, they don't really care about my opinion. They're just kind of doing this. You know what I mean? It's a very human thing to be defensive and to feel defensive. If somebody says, oh, hey, I think that thing you're doing is like really dumb, I don't think you should do that. It's very human to be like, oh, no, but you don't understand. Like, the reason why I'm doing it is because of all this stuff. But she said to actually, when those feelings come up, try and just name it. Like, defensiveness is actually a good thing, because it means you're proud of what you're doing and you feel, you're proud of it. She said, like, just bring it up and be like, oh, wow. So to be totally honest with you, like, I feel a little bit of defensiveness like bubbling up inside me right now as I hear that feedback, but I really appreciate you sharing it. I want to take some time to think it over. Naming how you're feeling in the moment can actually be a really good thing. What are y'all thinking for commitments?
I want to talk to at least one of my housemates to get a better hang of like what is the impression that others have from me in the house.
One thing, I think definitely talking to my girlfriend is a big one. That will not only help me, but I think help our relationship. I think also I definitely want to talk to my parents, and possibly my brother as well. Obviously, he's my brother, so I know him a long time, but he's like a lot different than me, so he kind of offers a different perspective, I think. Maybe want to ask like Professor Sheets, because he's probably known me the longest, but it's tough because I don't want to go around asking just like anyone, strangers, willy-nilly, because like when I ask them about some of these questions, they're only seeing that one side of me that I'm presenting to them. They're only seeing this personal side of me. Like, this is my first time really talking to, or being in the same Zoom call extensively with Kurosh, and I'm only seeing what Kurosh is talking to me about, and he seems like an intellectual, and that's kind of only what I've seen from the conversations and what he's done during this call. I think you really have to talk to people who more than one facet of yourself.
Or I think if you talk to somebody who only knows one part, just recognize the limitation of their feedback, right? Because I think we all do that, right? Whenever we see somebody, we just kind of assume that the stuff we don't see is just kind of more of the same, right? I mean, that's just like the way our brains work. It's tough for me because I'm trying to think, what do I want to ask of people? For me, it's like information overload. There's so many different ways I could frame it with all these different people. And, do I want to reach out with people on the share your why side? Do I want to reach out to family members, friends?
I think it is just like getting clear with the questions I'm asking. Okay, what is going to be the most beneficial for me to ask these questions?
Good stuff, y'all. Good luck. It'll be fun.